Okay, tēnā koutou katoa, nau mai ki te hui o te Committee Ratonga Rangatopu me te rautaki I tēnei rā. Welcome to everyone to today's Policy, Finance and Strategy Committee meeting. Our emergency procedures are up there on the screen. In the event of an emergency, please follow the instructions of our staff. I will ask too for our opening karakia to be shown on the screen. And please feel free to join in. Me karakia tātou. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hia ki ana te ata kura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei Māori ora. Okay, moving on to apologies. I'm just going to move an apology for lateness for Councillor Brown, who did say she would be joining us by Zoom today. And for Councillor Edwards, we'll just take those as apologies for lateness now and see how we get on during the meeting. So I move that those apologies be accepted. Gets seconded by Councillor Morgan. Thank you, Councillor Morgan. I put the motion which has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against, please say no. I declare that motion carried. Okay. Item number 3, public comment. We have no one registered for public comment. Item number 4 is conflict of interest declarations. I call on members to declare any conflicts of interest they may have in relation to items on the agenda. Are there any conflicts to be registered? No. Just a note. Oh, sorry. Deputy Mayor Lewis, was that your hand waving about?
Thank you. You just for Seaview Marina.
Sure, thank you very much. Okay, and just a note with regards to precedence of business, in accordance with Standing Order 10.4, I accord precedence to items 8 through 10. Those are 12-month reports from Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce, Love Wainuiomata and Jackson Street Programme, respectively. So we'll move straight into item number 8, the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce 12-month report to the 30th of June 2025. It's on page 107 of your agendas. I welcome Mark Scally, President, and Patrick McKibben, Chief Executive from Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I'll ask our Senior Advisor for Business and Economy, Sophie Smith, to introduce the item. Kia ora, Sophie.
Kia ora koutou. Thanks so much for the introduction. I will take the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce report for June 2025 as read. Unfortunately, first and second string are unwell, so this is third string reading the report. If there's any other questions, otherwise I'd like to welcome and thank to Patrick and Mark for joining us today to talk about the year that's been.
I'm not sure you're on there yet, Patrick.
Wrong button. Thank you, Sophie, and thanks very much, Councillor, for changing the order for to accommodate our time frame. So, look, I'm just going to, again, I won't go through our report, just a couple of things really to mention. The economy continues to dominate the business community's feedback to us. As you would have seen from the report, we did recently conduct our business confidence survey. We got the most ever number of responses to that survey, and there is continuing kind of worry about the economy, the costs, margins. On some sides, businesses are doing very well. On other sides, businesses are really struggling. Many businesses are, in their words, doing okay, which is not a place they really want to be. So, look, as well, we are delighted this year to have completed our 35 by 35 report, which hopefully you've all had a chance to read and get your head around. It was a really important piece of work for us, and it kind of leads us for a good platform for the next 10 years in terms of having a focus and some targets to work through. And we are constantly now planning around that report and things that we should do, particularly going into 2026. A couple of highlights for the year that was the first ever Hutt Valley Manufacturing and Innovation Expo was a really big highlight for me. It brought together nearly 250 people and a range of our manufacturers from the Hutt Valley. We brought a fire engine and a large boat into the event centre. Actually, the only event centre you can do that in the region, so it's pretty cool to be able to do that right here in our region and celebrate some of the work that our manufacturers do. We've continued to work on the Business Excellence Awards. We're currently in that process at the moment for this year, for 2025, and entries are looking positive for this year. But we had over 450 people attend that amazing event to celebrate business, not only in the Hutt Valley, but across our region. So we've continued to bring a whole heap of events. It's something that we talk about constantly is, are we trying to do too much? Are we not doing enough? But we continue to get asked to provide opportunities for our business community, and we continue to communicate with them on an ongoing basis, which we get really great feedback from. So thank you again for the Hutt City Council support. We really value the support and the working relationship we have with everybody at the council, and we're looking forward to that ongoing relationship for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Mark, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thanks. Patrick's stolen all my thunder and said everything I was going to say. I guess to really reiterate, the 35 by 35 piece of work has been a huge highlight for us for the year. Just that recognition that we're a $10 billion economy, and sharing that news and sharing what we were about and where we're going has certainly built significant awareness in our business community about the size of our economy, built pride in that, and certainly built confidence and belief where we can go in the future. So you'll see a lot more of that as we go forwards. And yeah, our Manufacturing and Innovation Expo, when we have businesses like Rocket Lab that are coming here because we manufacture lots of the pieces that go on the rockets that go into space, and talk about the fact that we are the third or fourth highest number of rockets launched into space anywhere in the world is from right here in New Zealand, and we play a huge part to support that. That we have a company in open source that's making a nuclear fusion reactor, that built our technology that's from right here in the Hutt Valley. That's those things that just start to give our businesses a bit more of a view into the future and what could be, and there's a lot coming. So I just want to reiterate everything that Patrick said, and again, thank you for your support and partnership. We work very closely with all levels of the council team on a daily, multi-daily basis. It's a strong partnership, and we work well together, so thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll open up to questions. He pātai tō ngā mema. Does any member have a question? Councillor Parkin.
Kia ora, thank you for the report. There's an awful lot of information in there, and the Technology Expo was very enjoyable. Just wondering, in terms of probably the biggest thing that I'm hearing at the moment is with the stress within the science community. Have you got an update on what's happening there at the moment?
Really, that we did talk to Minister Bishop a couple of days ago, and there is work on that activity going on. As to how that will play out, I'm not really sure, Councillor.
Thank you. Any further questions? I've got one, Patrick. You mentioned that in your latest survey, businesses were expressing a greater deal of worry than they have previously. Are you also seeing that reflected? Are businesses asking you for more or different kinds of help in the current environment?
Yes and no. It often depends. Often, businesses are looking for more opportunities to connect. At the moment, that's the lifeblood of a business, connecting and making sales. And so we do get regular requests to connect. We do have ongoing requests for different things like space, or we had a request last week or the week before about downsizing a business and how could you help me with these employees that unfortunately I've got to let go. So look, we deal with those requests on an ongoing basis, and it's really about the specific support for those businesses at that particular point in time.
Thank you, and thanks for providing that additional support. Councillor Dyer over here has a question.
Thank you, Chair. You talked about the long-term optimism for the business community being basically the same as it was last time you did the survey, but there has been a really big drop in the short-term optimism over the next sort of 3 months. Is there anything you think at a council level or the chamber level you think we could be doing to help in sort of that short-term period?
I think it's always about talking up business. I think, the recognition that various people get, including the Chamber, for highlighting business success, we get a lot of recognition for that. And so, for me, it's about helping businesses to see that there are good things going on and to help feel optimistic about what's going on around them. But also being in their faces and supporting them and talking to them about the issues is really, really important.
And I guess perfect timing as well with the business awards, the perfect opportunity to stand up and talk about the successes of your business.
Yeah.
Like that nominations close on Friday.
Yeah. 5 o'clock.
It's not too late to enter. Yeah, I really want to reiterate that. The challenge we have right now is we've got a huge amount of work coming down the pipeline for the city at the time when lots of businesses are struggling to just get through them in the current time. And so it's a real balance between businesses that are wanting to and interested in investing in the future, and yet cash is constraining those abilities. And so the noise that hits business owners all the time, can't, not enough, hard, stress, uncertainty, that's the noise. And if the business and economy has gone backwards by 10% or 15%, it still means that 85% or 90% of the business is still there. So part of our job is to make sure people are seeing what's really there, seeing what can be there and what's coming, not just the current noise. For lots of businesses, the noise is real. It is genuinely difficult when you have to decide which of your 6 staff you're going to be sending home and they're going to be coming back next month. That's really hard. And lots of businesses will wait and they'll put it off and they'll delay and they'll wait and they'll hold and they'll get more stressed and more financial pressure. And then when they do finally make a decision, things are really, really difficult. So we're helping them through that, but also helping them remind them that the rest of the staff are still here, there is a future, and those other businesses next door are still going okay, and we'll be here next week, and we'll be here next month, and we'll keep going. But it's a high-stress environment, so our huge role is just to communicate more, tell more, share more, remind more, and we do a lot of that. We could do more. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? No. In that case, I will move the motion that the committee receives and notes the Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce report for the 12 months to June 2025 attached as Appendix 1 to the report. Wai e tautoko, or do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. Mayor Barry, is there any debate? Any comments? Mayor Barry.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the presentation. I just wanted to take the opportunity, I suppose, particularly for myself as the outgoing mayor, to say a big thank you for your partnership in the way that you've worked with this council over the last 6 years, and I know much, for a very much longer time prior to that as well. It has been an absolute delight working alongside you both in the interests of business and the interests of our community and the opportunities that we can see here in the Hutt. And I think the 35 by 35 report is a real testament to obviously the thinking and the growth that I've seen also in the way that the Chamber operates over the last 5 or 6 years. I know, Patrick, you've obviously done a lot of that, but previously with Helen and Mark, you're the steady force throughout. And I think you're going to have to stay president forever. But it has been an absolute privilege to work alongside you guys, and wish you all the very best. And I know that relationship with the council will continue well into the future, and I think it's stronger than it's ever been, which is incredibly important as we grapple with Riverlink disruption, all those challenges but opportunities that are going to be here for our city as well. So thank you very much.
Councillor Dyer, I think, had a comment as well.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to take this moment also to acknowledge your work on this. Patrick, particularly your storytelling and sharing of the business community here, like your LinkedIn profile is one of the best LinkedIns to follow in the whole Wellington region, because you get out there and speak to so many businesses. On the 35 by 35 plan, if people haven't read it, it is the best read you could read right now. It is such a great piece of work. I know so much work has gone into that behind the scenes. I know it started as a much bigger document and it's been condensed down to something that's probably still too long, but it's worth reading every word because it's so important to the Hutt Valley. Also, I wanted to acknowledge your leadership around the expo next door. The room was absolutely buzzing. There were so many people there left so inspired and hopeful for the future. So I just really want to acknowledge that your hard work and mahi that you guys are doing, because I know the business community here in the Hutt is better because of you too. Thank you, and your teams.
Okay, thank you, councillors. There's not much really I could possibly add other than to thank you for this fulsome report to us today. The 35 by 35 report has been mentioned numerous times, obviously a big piece of work, a big accomplishment for you in this past 12 months, so congratulations, and our council looks forward to walking alongside you to 2035. So I will now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. He whakapuaki au kua mana te mōtini, I declare the motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Our next paper, item 9, is Love Wainuiomata's 12-month report to 30th of June 2025. Welcome our Chastity Card Coordinator and Nikki Smith, Co-Chair from Love Wainuiomata, who are in attendance for the item. I'll just ask Sophie again for a brief introduction, and I believe we have a presentation from Love Wainuiomata.
Kia ora, thank you. Yes, I just wanted to mihi to Chastity, our kai whakahaere for Love Wainui, and for Nikki, a board member as well. This is the second time that Love Wainui are reporting to this committee. Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they've got.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Chastity Kātoku ingoa, ko au te kai whakahaere o Love Wainuiomata. Ko Nikki Smith tēnei, ko ia te tiamana o Love Wainuiomata. Tēnā koutou katoa. We've submitted our accountability report for the 2024 to 2025 year, along with our strategic plan for 2025 and 2026. I'll take the report as read. Today, we want to share with you not just the outcomes, but the impact and how we continue to grow. The metaphor that best describes this is te kōkiri kākano. Planting seeds. Let's break that down. Te kōkiri kākano. Kōkiri meaning to strive, to advance, to take initiative, and kākano meaning a seed or a new beginning. Love Wainuiomata was dreamed about, huied about, pushed forward by our community. This was the first truly community-led kaupapa that Hutt City Council invested in. For the people, by the people. From that seed, the Love Wainuiomata Development Plan was published. It was set to span 30 years, yet all the actions completed within 10. That speaks to our community's work ethic, or what we call the Wainui way. Mahi done with aroha, with mana, and with collective effort. We've tasted and enjoyed the rich harvest of those early seeds. Now we're in the replanting stage, ensuring new ideas, leaders, and mahi germinate and flourish.
I'll just continue the metaphor. Just as those early seeds have given us the harvest that we enjoy today, we're now planting the next generation, a process that we have started this year with our new strategic plan. Late last year, we went out into our community to ask, what is it that you would like to see grow here? And over 1,000 voices came back to us with their thoughts, their aspirations, and those went directly into shaping our new strategic plan. It is truly by Wainui, for Wainui. And it carries on the community-led, community-championed kaupapa that has always been at the heart of Love Wainuiomata. This is why we work the way that we do, in deep collaboration with community. Love Wainuiomata is a connector. We cultivate relationships, we bring people together and create the conditions that allow ideas to take root, because we know that the richest harvests come when many hands are involved. And the areas our community want to see us grow in the future are clear. They want to see vibrant, inclusive events that help bring everyone together. Stronger local business networks so our economy thrives from within. Smart, people-centered development that reflect Wainuiomata's character, and spaces for connection where relationships can grow and flourish. And we know that this approach works. We've outlined the impact that Love Wainuiomata has had in our report. And we've seen that when we plant with care, nurture with collaboration, and grow with the community's own hands, that the harvest is rich, not just for this season, but for many years to come. With this plan, we're planting for the next 3 to 5 years of Wainuiomata's story, and we're really excited to see what grows.
Sorry, just 2 more slides ahead. Thank you. And here we go. Propagation has taken root. We see this in the story of one of Wainuiomata's finest rangatahi, Trezal Marino. As you can see on the screen above you, that we received a message from Trezal's mother, Kayla. And Kayla wrote to us, and I'm just paraphrasing, "Kia ora whānau, I'm Wainuiomata born and bred, but I've moved to Stokes Valley. I miss home. I was wondering if my son Trezal Marino, if you don't remember him, he was a 2021 Spirit Award winner for Wainuiomata at the age 10, and you supported him with the cleanup of Pukeatua Maunga. He is 14 now, and wanting to start an Aroha Koronui page inspired by you guys. He believes we need something like Love Wainuiomata here in the community, and is not wrong. So I wanted to share with you his journey and say thank you for being one of his biggest motivators." With that, fire in his belly, Trezal is hosting a market this Saturday in Stokes Valley. On top of that, the proceeds of his stall and his online store will be donated to the local food bank. That is seed work in action, aroha, leadership and service. Though Trezal and his mum, Kayla, now call Stokes Valley home, he carries Wainuiomata values with him, continuing to plant seeds wherever he goes, with desire to shadow Love Wainuiomata in future events, to adapt the same mahi into his new community.
So, as Chastity has just illustrated, not only are we planting seeds here in Wainuiomata, but we're also planting seeds across Te Awa Kairangi, which brings us back to our opening metaphor, Te Kokiri Kākano. We are growing collectively and advancing our kaupapa together. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā kōrua, thank you very much for that kōrero and presentation. We'll open up to the floor for questions. He pātai tō ngā mema, does any member have a question? Mayor Barry.
Yes, thank you so much for that. You mentioned events coming through as a key theme from that engagement with 1,000 residents. What were some of the other key things or reflections you thought were interesting that came through that have helped inform this sort of renewed strategy?
There was lots of feedback. So events, as you say, came through really strongly, but community are also wanting to highlight the things that Wainuiomata has and the services that exist within Wainuiomata. There are lots of small businesses that are starting up in Wainuiomata. There are lots of people that are running their own businesses, and it's one of the things that we would really like to do is to try and highlight those, to really, highlight what is happening within our community and bring support around those things. There were lots of bits of feedback about public transport, lots of bits of feedback about the way that our community is growing at rapid pace. And we've taken those bits of feedback and submitted those into submissions on various processes that you've been running and that the Regional Council have been running as well. So we're really trying to take the feedback that we've had and push it back out to where it needs to go if that's not something that we can do ourselves.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan has a question. I'll just quickly welcome Councillor Brown, who's joined us online. I've got Love Wainuiomata here and just taking questions with regards to their presentation. If you have any, but we'll go to Councillor Morgan first. Kia ora.
Kia ora kōrua. Thank you so much. This is so inspiring, reading all the wonderful work that you're doing, and I think you're a leading model for our city. And when you say spreading, the seed, it's so evident of the work. And so I guess I come to one question, which in the financials, it says around 101,000 for consulting, contracting and events. And I just wonder, can that be broken down so that anyone looking at your model, anyone looking at the real costs, because events costs, and how that money is distributed, I wondered if that could be something to think about for future, just so that people can see the effort and the money and how it's used, because you are making such a massive difference for your community and beyond. So that might help them look at, and when we look at Stokes Valley now, what could that look like? Because I think in our last meetings, I've said, what about a Love Taita or a Love Nainai or a Love, so your model could be taken across the city, which is so exciting, but those figures could help. So I wondered if that's something that you could think about for the future, but thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for your question, Councillor Morgan. So that was in the original report, the breakdown of those hours and the cost it would be at what we are currently compensated at as contractors to service the Love Wainuiomata contract, and it was advised to remove the breakdown and just stick with the hours, which speaks to the collaboration. It speaks to the manpower. Even though currently the role, just to give you insight, for Love Wainuiomata is 40 hours. So there's two contractors, myself and Makaila Aisia, who oversees the social media. And so with that, we have key partners in delivering all these wonderful events, from funding aspects and on the ground delivery. Lots of volunteer work, lots of using and shoulder tapping the networks that we currently have, well-established relationships within Wainuiomata. But yes, if you would like that breakdown, we're happy to provide it.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Councillor Dyer.
Yeah, just wondering if you've got any ideas looking forward in terms of the financial aspects of Love Wainuiomata. There's some really aspirational stuff in the plan, particularly strategic priority number 4 with a new sort of purpose-built multi-use facility, and then in the finance bit it sort of only really talks about Hutt City Council funding. Is there any other opportunities that you can see to help with some of these spaces?
I think in response to that, wanting to develop spaces within the community was part of the feedback that we were getting. For such a large community, such a diverse community, with lots of different needs, aspirations, and things that they want to do in terms of sport, but also things people want to do in terms of performing arts. We are limited in the spaces that we have, so it's something that we wanted to investigate. I understand the climate that we're in, and so we know that building something new is challenging in the current financial climate. But in terms of our aspirations and what we want to do in the future, I think there's always room to grow, and that's something that we would advocate for, definitely, because we're always going to advocate for our community and always going to advocate for wanting to do more. But we also understand the climate that we're operating in. I don't know if that really answers your question. We're trying to be realistic. So part of what we will plan to do in the next 12 months is to explore the spaces that are around us a little bit more and come up, really get to know what's available. We know that there are lots of halls around. How are they being utilised? Are there ways that we can utilise them more in lieu of trying to for building a new thing?
And if I can provide some sort of help, the Mangareki Library, obviously it's not a library we're talking about, but the model that worked there was a really good bang for buck in terms of the community outcome. So I would talk with the team with the development up there, because if there's any community that can get home ground support and rally some support from existing organisations, it's Wainuiomata. Kia ora, thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions? Councillor Brown, is that a hand up? Stuck on mute, are you?
Yeah, sorry about that.
There we go.
Yeah. I just want to ask Nikki, in terms of the community spaces, do you think that we use the spaces that we've got enough? We've got quite a few spaces in the hub and in the hall, in the deck, in the Queen Street Reserve that probably reduced more than increased the amount of use. And I think some of that has impacted on charging. We charge now for some of the rooms. But do you think that we use them to the full potential that we've got now?
Kia ora, Kiri, thank you. I think this is part of the work that we want to try and do. So we're getting feedback that sort of suggests that there's not people are looking for more space, and part of answering that is understanding what is being used and how it is being used. But we do know from, we've lost a few places along Moon Street, the old sort of Parkway College grounds. We know that there were judo clubs that were operating there. There was the Koha shed that was operating there. Those spaces are now not able to be used. And those, from my understanding, those groups don't have new locations that they've been able to secure or move into. So there's a variety of need for community space across Wainuiomata, and some of that can be housed in the spaces that we've got, and some of it can't. So we've got to sort of look at the landscape and figure out what we might be able to do.
Additionally to that, with the rehoming of some of the judo clubs and things like that, the key issue was storage. So lots of schools were, willing to open their doors, and churches, but you're talking about boxing rings and big mats, and it's just not logistically possible, nor do these already established facilities have the storage space. So you're talking about to answer your question, Councillor Brown, a town hall for 20,000 plus population, and it is getting booked out in recent conversations, which is fantastic because we want council's assets to be used to its maximum. However, hosting events along Queen Street is no longer desirable as the coordinator. And the reason why I say that is the issues on parking is real. And the main complaint that we get after any major event along Queen Street is I couldn't find a park, or from business owners along Queen Street, the customer, the foot traffic going in wasn't the best, or wasn't the best. And so with that, we now have new builds along Wainuiomata Road next to BP. So there's no longer parking along there because it's taking up with residents, as well as on the other side on Fitzherbert Street with all the new builds there. So parking that was available and accessible to use, years ago is no longer accessible now because it's taken up with residential parking. So that is the main gripe that we've been hearing from community for the past years. Now, what we did within this year is we hosted Matariki event at the Wainuiomata Marae, and we had a team of 40 to escort and help the public park and cross the road safely. So they parked on Wise Park, and that was a success in terms of solving the logistical parking issue. So we can use our assets more. However, there are some challenges that have come through from the people telling us why they're not attending the events that we host.
Thank you for that. And it's pretty disappointing to hear that people are not wanting to use Queen Street for the parking, because when we upgraded the parking, was 560 parks, including Countdown. So I think the question might be that we've been probably spoilt for choice in the past, because the parking hasn't actually reduced that budget increase with Countdown. So yeah, really keen to still use the assets that we've got, and even if we had new assets, that wouldn't solve the perceived parking issue. So it is a balance that we have to find with community.
Thank you, Councillor. Any last questions? If not, I will move the motion that the committee receives and notes the Love Wainuiomata report for the year to June 2024-5, attached as Appendix 1 to the report. Mā wai e tautoko. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Is there any debate? Mayor Barry.
It's going to sound like a common theme. Just want to say thank you for all of your incredible work over the last 12 months. I've been fortunate enough to be involved with Love Wainuiomata since its foundation back in 2015, and see how you have grown from strength to strength over that last 10 years has been outstanding. And I was just looking back because I can recall all those original documents and some of them that you were mentioning. And I was looking back at this one in particular around the town centre area and the focus sort of revitalisation and rejuvenation. And you've kind of got the civic area, commercial, proposed retirement village, and sports and recreation. And I just think about how much we've been able to achieve as a community in all of those areas. And now with, I think in our last committee led by Councillor Brown, we're looking at the revitalisation of Houston Park and what the potential that may bring as well. So as you've already mentioned, when you look through this document and this strategy and this focus, there are so many things being ticked off and made great progress on. And so I just want to tip my hat to you and to your predecessors who have been a driving force on the ground with so much of this, and you can be incredibly proud of your work. And I think it's fantastic that you're taking a refresh look, check in to see, things change, right? We've made some of those achievements, but where do we need to pivot to now to get to where we need to go in the future? And I think that's, will hold you in good stead. So well done, and to keep up the great work. And I'm sure Council will keep on funding you for another 10 years.
Councillor Brown.
I just want to congratulate Love Wainuiomata and acknowledge it right back from the start. But I know now that there's been so many really positive events and real alignment to attracting new business with the business breakfast and connections. And even though it is funded, I know that the work, I work closely aligned with Love Wainuiomata. I know that most of the work is volunteer, even from, well, obviously Nikki as a chair is volunteer, but also you, Chastity, it's well and above over what it's funded. So I just want to thank you all for the work that you've done. It's a real stalwart of Wainuiomata, and I think it's part and parcel. It's the fastest growing suburb, but Love Wainuiomata has really stayed in there as a really solid background to aligning with the changing face of Wainuiomata. And sometimes it's really difficult, like with the densification, and we certainly have got massive densification, but that has also opened up for opportunities. So yeah, I really congratulate you for the forward thinking and the strategic looking as well. So thank you, guys.
I will just close with a couple of comments. Firstly, to thank you on behalf of the committee for a very clear and well presented report to us. It was very good reading. And for including your strategic plan as well. It was really interesting to see just how much work you guys put into getting out there and engaging your community. It reminded me personally of some work that was done in my neighbourhood in Nainai a few years ago. And I think the deeper you dig with your community, the clearer the picture becomes of what it is they're looking for. And while there are certainly local nuances, I think some of those themes are very similar. Our communities are looking for places and reasons to come together and ways to support each other. So I congratulate you on that piece of work too, your new strategic plan. And look forward to hearing the progress on that one in 12 months' time. Keep up the great work. Thank you both for coming in. I will now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any against, say no. If Kio kua mana te mōtini, I declare the motion carried. Thank you again. Item number 10 is Jackson Street Program's 12-month report to 30 June 2025. It's on page 192 of your agenda. I welcome Helen Swales, Coordinator, and Tom Hudig, Board Member from the Jackson Street Program, who are here to present. And I'll just ask Sophie briefly to introduce again. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you. Just like to mihi to Helen and Tom for attending today. I'll take the report as read. Unless there's any questions for me, I'll pass it over.
Good afternoon. The Jackson Street Program, referred to as JSP, continues its mission to promote, preserve and enhance Jackson Street as a vibrant heritage, retail and commercial destination. This report outlines progress across 4 pillars. The JSP has delivered strong results in promoting Jackson Street as a vibrant retail, commercial and heritage destination during the 2024 to 25 year. Key achievements include heritage preservation through events, museum initiatives, business attraction and support, digital marketing campaigns, advocacy on major council policies and partnerships to reduce disruption from infrastructure projects. JSP continues to provide significant economic, cultural and tourism benefits to the city, aligning with council objectives for community engagement, local vibrancy and sustainable growth. Our key achievements. Heritage and tourism delivered 5 Wellington Heritage Festival events, which include tours, talks, museum openings. Supported heritage education through school talks, scavenger hunts and visits. Maintained Old Jail Museum with 9 private events and recruited 2 volunteer ambassadors. Refurbished 9 Walk of Champions plaques, the total of which are 148 plaques and 190 sports people. Second event is economic development and promotion. There are 221 businesses, 2 associates, and at the moment 12 vacant premises, which is the highest since 2016. There are 3,200 jobs in Jackson Street. Attracted 6 business relocation inquiries, expanded digital marketing, new website, social media, and monthly radio campaigns. Ran seasonal promotions and interactive events, which include Minecraft Challenge and scavenger hunts. Third, advocacy for business and support. Hosted Business After 5, events on legislation and business issues. Engaged with Ministerial Retail Crime Advocacy Group and New Zealand Police. Advocated an annual plan, district plan event strategy for local business interests. 4, partnership and cooperation. Collaborated with Wellington Water and contractors to minimise disruption. Worked with developers on compliance, building upgrades and funding. Partnered with HCC, Petone Library, Settlers Museum and local community groups. The visitor impact was JSP acted as an informal visitor centre with 15,897 visitors, up from 15,462. The strategic value of JSP supports Hutt City goals for vibrancy, economic growth, cultural identity and preservation at minimal cost to council. Apart from all that, we are about business and jobs. Thank you.
I'd just like to follow on from Tom, one of our board members, and it's lovely to have him participate, and we're doing a rotation so that the councillors are aware that all of our board members are actually quite conversant with our pillars and with the compliance that we need to do and meet with regard to the council meetings. But what I would like to say is the visitor impact has been really, really quite strong. And considering that we're only open Monday to Friday from 9 to 1, those numbers are really quite staggering. We don't open up on the weekends. What we're finding in the trend with the visitors coming through is that we're getting a lot of overseas visitors, and that's where we need to start working really, really closely with regard to, so what is it that they want? What is it that they need? And are we meeting their expectations? So looking forward, we will be looking at delivering and producing 10 different walking guided tours. We are working with Te Ara Tapu with regard to when that launches, how can we leverage off that walkway, shared pathway? Do we look at starting up and investigating a tuk-tuk type kind of business where we meet people when we take them along there? In the summer months, obviously it's going to be great, but we will be the connectors, not only coming from central Wellington CBD, but going all the way through to Eastbourne and taking advantage of all of those collaterals along the way. Council puts an awful lot of investment in those things, and it's about making sure that we leverage off those investments. The other thing that we're finding is that since COVID, we have had to work extra hard with our businesses on the floor to encourage them to pivot, to look at other alternatives, to encourage more people, more offerings on the street, because the diminishing disposable income is starting to hit and bite really, really hard. So with those innovations, what is it that we can do where we touch all of those in the community, right from grandparents, right down to the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, to ensure that they still come on the street and take part in the vibrant visitor experience that we put. Hence the reason why we're looking at schools, we're looking at leveraging off what we can do and enhance any funding that we can get from the Ministry of Education, where we can add to the charter of the local primary schools where it's about history and heritage. So we have to be innovative because we know that council can't put their hand in their pocket anymore by increasing our targeted rate. So we have to go hunting for where we can actually bring that money to the table to value to our business community, to ensure that they thrive, that we keep those 3,628 employees on the street, because the pressure is there that we've already seen some of those numbers have started to diminish. Welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. He pātai tō ngā mema. Does any member have a question? I've got one. You talked about increased numbers of visitors and tourists, which is great to hear. Do you have a feel for where those people are coming from?
Yes, we do. Most of them, we're starting to see an increase in the Chinese market. We still have the American market, and most of what we find with the American market and some of the European is that they're actually coming to see their children that have decided to relocate to New Zealand. So what we're seeing now is that they can afford, because of the difference in the dollar value, that we're seeing them come not once but twice a year, which is really, really great to see. Not so much the English, but certainly the Scandinavian countries and the Asian countries are starting to come back quite strongly.
And do you think many of those visitors are staying locally as well, or they're just coming out to visit for a day?
We're encouraging stay. We're leveraging off at the moment. We're working with the fact that we've got WOW, and we're saying, you know, people come repeatedly to that event. It is obviously a national and international pool. We're leveraging by saying, you know, you've done Wellington, we're only 8 to 10 minutes away, we're well connected, come and do and use our Airbnb. So we're working with them quite closely to get that spend out here in the community. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan has a question.
Kia ora, thank you so much. I was in Petone on the weekend, and I can say categorically I met some lovely visitors to our city and area, and they had a wonderful time visiting many, many parts of Jackson Street and beyond. Thank you for the good work that's going on. Really lovely reading this and seeing all the goodness and connective approach that you have to really look after one another and the businesses. Quick question is, when we're under so much scrutiny around accountability, transparency, money, I don't see a finance report in here, and I just wondered if you could make a comment on that. So thank you.
Absolutely. So through the targeted rate, the Jackson Street program just gets we get about $184,000, but that's inclusive of GST. So we have to go and pay the tax man, you know, about $11,000 or $12,000, which is a bit of a, but never mind, we do that. So the reason why we don't have any financials in here is that we're an incorporated society, and our membership, our AGM is in October. Our membership need to see the finances before we can actually bring them to the table here, but they are filed every year on the Incorporated Society. And I do welcome your question, and we are transparent in the way that we spend our money. We have 53 hours that we spend on wages. The rest of it, I'm sure people will understand, goes on rates, insurance, all of the costs to unlock a door to do any business. They're no different from any other business on Jackson Street. So I do apologise, but for us, it's purely a timing thing, councillor, and happy to let you know after our AGM when they get filed. You're welcome.
Thank you. Any last questions, councillors? No. In that case, I will move the motion that the committee receives and notes the Jackson Street Program report for the year to June 2025, attached as Appendix 1 to the report. Mā wai e tautoko. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Stanger. Is there any debate? No, just a brief comment from me. Thank you again for your report to us. Very thorough report, and we can see just how busy you are down on the street down there. I really appreciated the breakdown of the number and types of businesses on the street. And I wondered how that might be changing over time. Didn't get round to asking the question, sorry. So don't feel the need to respond now, but I just wondered maybe next year if we could have a kind of up and down against each of those, just so we can see how things are changing on the street. And you mentioned another important metric, which I don't think was in the report. The number of jobs on the street was really interesting to hear too, and see how that's tracking over time. So maybe something you could consider for next year's report. But yeah, well done on all the mahi. There was a mention in there too of you taking some volunteers on board to help with your busy work. So thank you very much for your report, and well done as another local organisation very busy in the community. So I will now put the motion which has been, oh, sorry, Mayor Barry.
No, it's my fault. I also, as you heard with the others, I just really wanted to pass on my thanks. I won't go on too much because I think Andy's covered things, but just really appreciate having the opportunity, particularly with you, Helen, and all the JSP board members to work with you, and it's been a real pleasure. And looking forward to, obviously, some of the opportunities that you've highlighted and challenges, and how we grapple with that, with what's happening in the broader city as well. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. And if the chair would allow me some lenience here, the Jackson Street program would actually like to acknowledge and thank you, Mayor Barry, for the time that you've been there as mayor and the support that you have shown us. It has been appreciated. We haven't always seen eye to eye, but robust debate has always been really, really appreciated. So from our perspective, thank you. We wish you well for the future, wherever that may take you. Obviously, there will be a keen interest in wherever that is, but thank you for all of the work. And to you as chair, thank you for your support, and other councillors.
Thank you, everybody. Okay. All right. Now I will put the motion which has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Ka whakapuaki au, kua mana te mōtini, I declare that motion carried. Moving back through our agendas now to item 5, recommendation to Council, 29 September 2025. It's the final engagement framework. It's on page 8 of our agendas, and I'll ask Rochelle Carrig, engagement lead, to speak to the item. Kia ora, Rochelle.
Kia ora koutou. I'm very proud to bring the final of Te Whetanga Hutt City Council's engagement framework to you today. This framework sets the direction for how we engage with our community more meaningfully, inclusively, and with greater transparency. Following our last update to the committee in July, we've carried out both community and internal engagement on the draft. Between July and August, we reached over 1,000 people through a mix of methods which are covered off in the paper. Alongside this, we ran internal consultation to ensure the framework is practical and to build understanding and commitment across council. We received around 250 pieces of formal feedback, and that's in addition to earlier feedback and insights that have shaped the engagement principles and the draft. The feedback reaffirms strong support for the framework, with a clear call for visible action and follow-through, which is now our team's focus. In response to feedback, we've made refinements including accessibility-related design changes, clearer wording, including clarification of councillor and community board roles and engagement, and plain language updates throughout. At the start and end of our online survey, we asked community about trust and influence levels. Initial results showed equal levels of trust and distrust, but once respondents had considered the proposed changes, trust jumped nearly 30% and distrust fell by a third. Large influence rose strongly, and almost nobody said the community would have no influence at all. This is a powerful early signal that our proposed changes could make a real difference in how how council is perceived, but most importantly, increase trust between community and council. A process to track engagement effectiveness using key success indicators based on our engagement principles have been developed. This will give us a baseline to inform KPIs next year, which we'll then look to report on publicly. In the meantime, we'll report to the community quarterly on progress against our action plan, which is in the document. Incoming council will be briefed on Te Whetanga in November, and it will go to council for adoption in December. Lastly, I wanted to share some positive news regarding our online engagement platform known as Have Your Say. Our platform provider shared that our engagement rate for the calendar year of 2024 was 23.6%, which is already tracking higher for this year. This is well above New Zealand Council average of 5 to 10%, so we're proud to be a top performing council in this space. Kia ora, happy to take any pātai.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. He pātai tō mema. Does any member have a question? No questions left. It's been covered so well in this and previous meetings. So I will move the recommendations on page 8 of the agenda. I won't read them all out. There's 5 of them, but just to note, number 3, that this committee endorses the final Te Wherenga engagement framework document attached as Appendix 1 to the report. And as mentioned, 4 notes that officers will seek formal adoption from the incoming council later this year. So I will move the motion. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Parkin. Is there any debate? No, I'll just pass a few comments. Firstly, to congratulate the team on that Have Your Say success. Good to see that even before all of this new stuff comes into play, we are doing really well to engage our community using that particular tool. Really interested to see the question was asked and answered of our community if they thought these changes would actually improve things, and to hear that they did think we were likely to succeed with this new framework. And finally, as you mentioned, to note the role for elected members alongside our council officers and others in engagement. I think that's something we can really lean into once this framework is in place. So thank you for your work. Okay, I will now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Ka whakapuaki au kua mana te mōtini. I declare that motion carried. Moving on to item 6, it's the year-end performance report 2024 to 2025. It's on page 33 of the agenda, and I'll ask Richard Hardy, our Head of Strategy and Policy, and Sandra Beckett, Policy Analyst, to speak to the item. Kia ora.
Kia ora. The purpose of the report is to provide the committee with the year-end performance report. The report presents key highlights and challenges across council for 24-25 and highlights some milestones against our major projects. And we are happy to take any questions.
Okay, councillors, he pātai tō ngā mema. Does any member have a question? No? Again, getting off lightly, team. Thank you very much for the report, which covers a lot of ground, but I will move the motion that the committee receives and notes the information and notes the year-end performance report for 2024-25 attached as Appendix 1 to the report. Mā wai e tautoko. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Is there any debate? No, I will now put the motion which has been moved and seconded. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. He whakapuaki au kua mana te mōtini. I declare that motion carried. Item number 7 is results of the 2025 Resident Satisfaction Survey on page 96 of the agenda. I'll ask Mike Knuth, Principal Advisor, Research and Evaluation, to speak to the item. Kia ora, Mike.
Kia ora, thank you. So I spoke at length about the 2025 Resident Satisfaction Survey at the briefing last month, so I'll take this paper as read. But since the briefing, my team and I, and along with the engagement team and others, have been working diligently to communicate the insights from the survey with teams across council, so they are aware of the insights as it relates to them, and to factor that into their respective business plans where they choose to do so. We've also been working diligently to close the loop with participants of the survey and the broader community, and you'll see the results are on our website also. But at this point, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Mā wai e tautoko. Oh, sorry. He pātai tō ngā mema. Does any member have a question? Councillor Parkin does.
Kia ora, thank you, Chair. Some really interesting things in here. One question and one request. The request is, could we please have the headers on all of the pages when you jump, particularly the satisfaction survey results on page 104, it's fine, but then when you go to the next pages, it's harder to tell which year lines up with what. And I'm just wondering if you've got any insights into what happened with the green waste service. I note that there was a 10% drop there. I also note that the year before, 3 years ago, it was actually even lower. So there is some innate fluctuation in that, but it seems to be an area that we can work on. And just wondering if you've got some insights.
Yeah, I can speak directly to that. So going back a couple of years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, when we asked that question, it was open to anyone, but then we changed it last year, so only those who had the service could comment. So that was the way it should have been from the get-go, and so that's the reason why you saw that variation. The variation between this year and last year, the question and the methodology is the same. So why there's a dip, it usually relates to a specific area of the city. From the top of my head, remembering from the specific results, I believe there was a more pronounced dip in the eastern ward in terms of satisfaction with that particular service. And the results, the reasons for that are reflected in some of the comments which we've provided the solid waste team, but I'll have to come back to you with the exact reasons.
Yeah, from memory, I think one of the dissatisfactions people has with that service is it doesn't quite do enough for them, right? It's a monthly collection service and people would prefer some flexibility or maybe additional collections. That's from past surveys as well. That's been a common theme with that service. Are there any other further questions? No. In that case, I will move the motion that the committee notes that the full 2025 resident satisfaction survey is available on Hutt City Council's website, and 2, notes the significant increase in survey participation among rangatahi aged 16 to 24 compared to previous years. Mawai e tautoko. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Dyer. Is there any debate? No, just to thank you, Mike, for presenting again to us. It was covered very well in a briefing earlier, as you mentioned, but also for your work to share results with individual teams and how they can respond to those. And I do encourage people to dig in and have a good read of that full survey as well. So I now put the motion, which has been moved and seconded. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Ka whakapua ki au kua mana te mōtini. I declare the motion carried. Item 11 is an information item. It's the Policy, Finance and Strategy Committee Forward Programme, noting we do still have one meeting of this committee to come. It's on page 209 of the agenda. He pātai tō ngā mema. Does any member have a question about that? No, in that case, I move the motion that the committee receives and notes the draft forward programme for the remainder of this triennium attached as Appendix 1 to the memorandum. Mawai e tautoko. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Stellinger. I now put the motion, which has been moved and seconded. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Ka whakapua ki au kua mana te mōtini. I declare the motion carried. Item 12 is questions, and I have received no questions, so I'll ask that our karakia whakamutunga be shown on the screen. Me karakia tātou. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia I te urutapa nui, kia wātia, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua I te arataka tū. Koiara e rongo, whakaerehia, aki ki runga, kia wātia, aira, kua wātia, hau pai māriri. Okay, I declare the meeting closed at